What is up, YouTube? N64 Fun Time coming back at you with another fun one today. We're back playing some N64 again, and this is a game that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, so I'm super happy I have the chance to do it. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know what I'm going to be playing today because I posted some pictures of me shooting some footage, but we are playing some Blast Corps. Sadly, it was a very early game in the Nintendo 64's life, and it maybe got overshadowed by games, so you may not have had the opportunity to play that right away for the Nintendo 64, and I think that's a little bit important because this game definitely has a really big nostalgia factor for a lot of people, and I think that's what makes it really great, but it's also fun to come back to. Now, Blast Corps is a Rare game, and if you know anything about Rare, and the Nintendo 64, Rare was probably the best third-party developer on the Nintendo 64 that really any system has ever had. They knew the Nintendo 64 in and out, and every single game they pumped out was graphically amazing for the system that nobody else really was able to do as well as Rare did. You know, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, all these games were Rare properties. Now, like I said, this was Rare's second game for the system, and for how amazing the graphics are and how early it was, they just did such a good job. The first one being Killer Instinct Gold, and if you go back and play Killer Instinct Gold now, that was one of the first games released for the system in the first few months that it came out, and it looks insane still, and they just followed that through the whole lifespan of the Nintendo 64. So back to Blast Corps. What is Blast Corps if you haven't played it? It's really hard to understand, although it's very simple. The idea behind the game is you literally have a nuclear missile truck that for whatever reason can't turn at all and is just driving in a straight line, and you use a random assortment of vehicles to just blow crap up so this thing doesn't hit anything. And I'm dead serious. This is a true story. One of the developers at Rare literally just said, I want to make a game and just blow stuff up. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds good, but we need something more to it. We can't just have a game where you just go around blowing stuff up. And some guy's like, no, wait, let's have a missile carrier that just drives at a straight line, and we have to, you know, make sure it doesn't hit anything. And they're like, oh yeah, that's okay. So literally, as the game boots up, when you're going through the screen, the only explanation you have in the entire game is carrier locked on course, clear path to ground zero. That's it. That's all you get. But it immerses you in this amazing world where you're traveling to these different areas, and you slowly get to try out these vehicles that you'll be using for the rest of the game. Now, you have your normal construction equipment. You have a bulldozer, you have a dump truck, you get upgraded, you have cars that have missiles on them, and then they just go whole hog and you get some giant mechs that just blow the crap out of everything. You have some mechs that fly up and drop down on buildings and explode them. You have some that roll around and explode stuff. But what makes this even cooler is every level you actually have the opportunity, your little guy can get out of whatever he's in and go into other vehicles all over the map, whether it's the mechs, you can drive around trains, and all of this, you know, culminates to just these really intense levels where you're jumping in and out of different vehicles, different mechs, you're moving stuff around so that you can destroy the environment, you can move cranes, you can do all sorts of stuff just so this stupid little truck can continue to drive in a straight line and not blow up the world. It sounds so stupid, but it's so fun and so satisfying. And what's great about this game is the levels really are different enough to where you can keep playing, and it really is a puzzle game, and it's just very dynamic, and you're trying to figure things out. Now, there's a few things about this game that I need to tell you. So while this is a great game, one of the things that, you know, is okay, but maybe not, people might be frustrated with, just a 3D environment game for the Nintendo 64, what's the biggest issue that you usually have? The camera. Now, the camera's okay, it's not bad, I definitely wouldn't call it bad. You can manipulate the camera like you could in Mario 64, where you can zoom in and out and rotate the camera around, and I wouldn't say I ever got stuck with the camera, where it was just game breaking. It's okay, and I think it really works for as early as it was in the Nintendo 64. So it's a little bit of an issue that you may have, but to me it's not that bad. And then the next one being is when you beat a level, when you clear the path and beat the level, what's really cool is you actually have the opportunity to go back into the level to continue to destroy stuff. It's very free, where you can actually just go around and drive whatever vehicles in that level. But the problem is, you can never reset that level. You can never go back and start from scratch and try to do the puzzle over. Once it's beat, it's beat. It is a memory pack game, so you do need a memory pack for it, but it doesn't use up too much data in your memory pack. But you know how you guys know how I feel about memory packs. So that's another little gripe I have with this game, is once you beat a level, you can still go back in and play it, but you can never get the level experience again unless you start over from scratch. And there's 57 levels in this game, so there's actually quite a lot. So if you wanted to replay like the 50th or the 51st level, you would actually have to beat the game all over again in order to start that level fresh. So, you know, that's okay. But the biggest thing, if you guys have played this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the vehicles in this game is a dump truck, like I said earlier, and this thing controls like a piece of crap. It is a dump truck, and that's what the dump truck levels do. They take a dump on this game. I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but this literally could have been a perfect game. It really could have, but the dump truck levels and how often it's used is just so bad. Now, what you do is you basically power slide with the dump truck and break buildings, but the problem is the control is just so horrible. And you can go, oh, I'm just gonna practice and get really good at the dump truck so I can just wipe through this game. But you just can't. You can never get good at the dump truck, because right when you think you got it, it just doesn't want to turn right. The different terrains, it just doesn't work the same, and it's just very frustrating. So if the biggest thing that potentially can absolutely ruin this game is the dump truck and how often it's used, and it really does ruin the game. That being said, as far as ruining the game, it still is fun to go back to. I had a lot of fun coming back and replaying this game and going through the levels, and it's very satisfying to play in small spurts, or the game is good enough with the levels where you can just go through and play it all at once. But yeah, it's just one of those things where there's an amazing game and one stupid little thing, one stupid little mechanic really does ruin the game. The dump truck. Anyway, what are your memories of Blast Corps? Did you even play Blast Corps? Do you even like Blast Corps? Me personally, I do. I still go back and play it. It looks beautiful still. The amount of detail they actually put in the game. Sure, the texture resolution is low, but the lighting and how much they put in it is absolutely amazing, and for how big the worlds are. So, you know, my hat is off to Rare for just how well they were able to make games for the Nintendo 64, and how large of an impact they had and how big of their mark was on the Nintendo 64. So there you go. I hope you liked it. Please go back and play Blast Corps. Please go back and play the dump truck level so you can be as frustrated as I was. I played just about a half hour to try to get really good at the dump truck, to try to shoot really good footage. I just couldn't do it. I got so angry I just wanted to throw my controller on the ground. But anyway, there you go. I hope you had fun. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I do plenty of fun stuff on there. Like and subscribe if you liked and subscribed. Please do that down below. Anyway, be nice, stay positive, always be gaming.